gotten injured.
Rib, okay. Can we continue? I don't know. No, it's over. It's over.
For the winner by split decision,
That gets taken down. Head kick stuns Pena. And now Juliana returns fire. Massive right to Pennington. Big front hand connection by Rountree Jr.
declared the winner by TKO.
Kia ora e te iwi no mai haramai ki UFC on Sky Koravinda Hunia Tōku Ingoa. You have been watching highlights from UFC 307, which saw Alex Pereira retain his light heavyweight title, and of course Juliana Pena crowned the new bantamweight queen. To break this all down with me today, I have 5th ranked lightweight Dan Hooker and special guest number 10th ranked light heavyweight Carlos Ulberg. Kia ora korua.
Ooh, sounds good, brother.
We love these top 10 rankings. gives the show a bit of a boost too. But first, Carlos, welcome on back into the studio. It's good to see you, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Look, talking about light heavyweight fights, and we will get into this a little later on, but you're in camp right now, getting ready to face the number 6 in the division in November. Talk to us about how camp's been going so far.
Yeah, it's grueling. It's painful. It's everything we love, and makes
I
us
don't
want to
love it. I like fighting. I don't like.
Makes us want to go back there the next morning. So yeah, it's an addiction at this point.
Yeah, because you have been, have had a little bit of a rest in between fights. So how good is it to be back in the mix of, preparing for another UFC fight?
Yeah, I mean, having a rest is always quite nice, but you get to the point where you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing now? So although it is good to have that rest, being in a camp and a schedule is always very nice too. So I'm 6-7 weeks out from my fight, so I'm starting to get my bearings back again. So.
Nice, exciting. Good to see you back on the circuit. And like I said, we will get into that a little bit later. Macau, yeah.
Oh, we're coming back to it.
Well, we're coming back to it. We're coming back to it. Look.
I was going to start asking questions.
Slow down. We need more things to talk about. We're going to drag this out, okay?
We're going to really drag this show out.
Well, look, where Carlos's place in the light heavyweight division is very relatable to Alex Pereira, which you'll see how this all works in a minute, okay? You'll see how this is all planned out.
This is why you get the big bucks.
That's exactly it. This shit. But let's talk about UFC 307. We did speak to a few of the fighters leading up to the event last week. You also spoke to a lot of the fighters as well. I just wanted to get your overview of what you thought of the card in general to start us off.
Yeah, it was a bit of a decision fest up until the main event. It was a slow pace fight. The co-main event, I think the girls were good. But seeing Jose Aldo get held against a cage for 3 rounds, like Kevin Holland, obviously, there's no good ending when it's just he had a rib injury, which led to the finish of that. So no real finish, even though it goes down on paper as a TKO. Kayla Harrison was good, was dominant, but I feel like she was gunning for a title shot after that. And was really, she's coming off the back of a big win over Holly Holm. And then she was coming into this fight, that was a pretty fairly contested fight. And then coming into this fight, she's a 6-1 favourite. It's supposed to cakewalk this chick. Yeah. And then unanimous decision, but one of the judges' scorecards 29-28, so she only won two of the 3 rounds. So not the statement dominant win that I guess that everyone was waiting for and anticipating leading into that fight. Co-main event was good, back and forth. I feel like the judging could have gone either way, depending on how you really score it. And then the main event really made up for it.
As we thought it would in true Alex Pereira style. Just on that bantamweight division though, obviously the kōrero last week was Kayla Harrison and Ketlin Vera being the number 1 contender spot fight, and then seeing how this fight unfolded with Juliana Pena getting her hand raised. Do you think that Kayla Harrison Juliana Pena fight, how might that go? And is Juliana Pena still that fighter of old that we were kind of perhaps expecting more of in that fight?
That's kind of how the fight. That's kind of how I thought the fight would go. Like that, it leads to her strengths. Like Pena is like good cardio, good grappling, and really likes to rely on her toughness and like wheel a lot of girls down. I feel like it's Kayla. The Kayla fight's a competitive fight. Yeah. I feel like it's gonna definitely be a competitive fight. I thought the GOAT move from Pena, and because we did interview and we did speak to her, and she is really quick-witted and she is really sharp. When you do ask her questions, you can always tell that she's like got a premeditated answer, and she's already really quick-witted and stuff like that. And then so after her fight, they pulled Kayla Harrison up on the big screen, which would have been live inside the venue. That would have had Kayla Harrison or her. She would have seen it on TV screens all around the venue, and then to just completely ignore her and call out Amanda Nunes, who's retired, is like another great play. And I understand it as well, because obviously her being the champion, and then you're going into negotiations for your next fight. If she would have then called out Kayla, and then that's set in stone. The fans expect it, the UFC expect it, and she's also committed herself to the fight. Then negotiations become very difficult because everyone's expecting something, and there's just going to be pressure on Pena to sign the contract. Another super smart move from Pena.
That is an absolute chess move.
She is really, I tip my hat to her. She is quick-witted.
But it also sets up a rivalry between her and Kayla that was already brewing.
I feel like there's enough back and talk from them to make a promo highlight reel. There's enough back and forth, from the press conference. These girls are screaming black and blue at each other.
Absolutely. So we can't wait to see that. And I'd like to see Kayla Harrison's reaction to, in more depth, to being absolutely shunned in that moment on live television. It can't be good for the ego. But let's move on to the main event, and I'll get your thoughts on this, Carlos, on Alex Pereira, Khalil Rountree. First of all, before the fight, how did you think the fight was going to go down?
I had my money on Rountree. I thought Rountree would do well, given he's quite explosive, and it'll give a different look to Alex Pereira. But as the rounds went on, I think Pereira came back and he stuck to his game plan, which was to tire him out and make use of the explosive power that Rountree was using and overusing.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that too last week, that you thought he'll be taken deep into.
Well, when I was cheating on this show and I was in Australia,
how dare you?
And I was in Australia doing another show. I got to speak to Pereira, and they said like you can ask one question. So I was like thinking, I was like, what do I want to ask? I wanted to ask how he rated Khalil's striking. But I know that like Alex Pereira's like a super respectful guy.
Yeah.
So I knew if I just asked him straight up, what do you think of Rountree's striking? Like he would have been respectful and like give him credit and stuff like that. So then I thought I'd ask how Pereira would think that Khalil would do in glory kickboxing as a pure kickboxer. Yeah. Not only that, but how he thinks he would fare in his division at the time that Pereira was champion. So I was like, if I go specific, then he has to give me like a real specific answer.
Give me what I want. Yeah.
And it was good. Like he said, Khalil's explosive, like he can punch, he can kick. He's got knockout power in his hands and his feet. He's got a good style. But he's very muscle bound, and the pace of pure kickboxing is too high for him, and he generally gasses or slows down quite a lot after the second round. So that gave me some insight into Pereira's game plan. And he did come out and just run across and kick him in the guts and get this fight started straight away, because he wanted to set a high pace from the opening bell, because he knew that Khalil would slow down. He didn't want to keep his range and have like an MMA striking fight where Khalil can do that for 25 minutes or is capable of having those little spaces of time to recover. He wanted to stay on him, he wanted to pressure him, he wanted to have a high-paced kickboxing striking match, and he did. Yeah. And eventually he just took him to deep waters, and he was able to drown him in the later.
Yeah, that's right. He come running out like Jorge Masvidal did not so many years back.
Get the Crocs in the face.
With that flying knee. Carlos, was there at any point in the fight, did you think that Alex Pereira perhaps looked a little bit, not in trouble, but like, I need to try something else? Or that this wasn't going as easy as perhaps once was thought by fans especially?
Yeah, I think it was the second or second or third round where I think he got clipped, and there was the moment there where Rountree would have or could have taken advantage of. But it was only for a good, say, 10, 15 seconds. And I did say that to Danny. I was like, man, until you're in there, and you don't know what it's like.
You should have tried to finish him. It's just, it's way easier on your couch. Exactly. I was like, you're going to get a shot at it one day, bye-bye.
I will,
We're sitting on my couch, you should have gone for him.
But it's those moments, right, that you could capitalize on. So it was just then in that moment, but it just didn't happen. So, Pereira pushed forward and continued with his game plan.
Nice.
I think it's just hard when you're expected to wipe the floor with someone, when you're expected to pick someone off, wipe the floor with them, then anything they do, people are like, whoa, he's still there. Him surviving more and more rounds, got the fans even more excited, because they weren't expecting to see as competitive of a fight as we got to witness.
Because Israel Adesanya said no one's taken him to the fourth round but him. But this was what Alex wanted, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
He wanted. Yeah, he knew he would tire over time.
And speaking of Israel Adesanya, we're going to take a look now at the reactions from other UFC fighters as well to UFC 307.
Rountree did a great job early, very dangerous. Alex Pereira doing his thing where he puts his pressure on, stays there, right in front of you, and he usually likes to counter straight away. But you've seen the respect he gave Rountree where he was drawing the punches out of Rountree, but trying to evade him and just get out of the way, just drawing him out of maybe to wear him down. I think that was more of a plan. Maybe look for shots here and there, but really force his hand, force Khalil Rountree's hand, not only to try and counter, but mainly just see what you're throwing at me and to take that energy from you as well. Stay in front of you, make you feel like you have to fire. Great strategy, but very dangerous.
That was a beautiful performance. Finish was, you got to be careful with Khalil because you hurt him and he's still so dangerous, but he got to a point to where he really wasn't as dangerous because he was so fatigued and he had taken so much damage that Pereira was really able to open up and start attacking that body and sit in the pocket a little bit more. But yeah, I think, the coaches could have thrown the towel in on that. It was, his eye was freaking flapping around. His nose was already busted up, but Rountree is an absolute dog.
I felt like the difference was the low leg kick. And when he started calf kicking him, he was destroying that leg, and he was having trouble putting pressure on it, and he was having trouble with his punching power, his movement, everything. And he systematically just started picking him apart. And he said, when I watched the feature, he said, listen, this guy hits hard. He's tough. He's this, he's that. And this guy has a dream, but my fight IQ will win this fight. He said that in the combo feature, and that's exactly the way it played out.
The chin of Pereira, it is solid because he took a lot of shots tonight. It's not something we always see. And it was also nice to see that he can fight through adversity, that he could be a hammer and then be the nail as well. It's all well and good him going out there and knocking people out. But you want to see fighters go through a little bit of adversity, see what they're like after losing a round or two. Have they got the mental toughness to turn it all around? Well, we know. Of course he does. Of course he has. And we've seen that before against Israel Adesanya, of course, as well.
Toughness gets you hurt.
Yeah, dog.
Gets you hurt.
Go down.
Throw in that towel, yo.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Throw in that towel.
All the fights.
Eyelid is hanging off.
Nah. Right now we still got a chance. I think right now he's still got. Oh, knocking. No. Yeah, he's trying to survive. Oh, hand trap. Oh, nah. And Pereira's. Oh, that's what I'm saying, buddy. That's what I'm saying, buddy.
Bravo. Bravo, Khalil.
Yeah, good on him, but
that was hard.
He lasted longer than I thought he would.
That was hard.
Yeah.
A lot of heart. He kept fighting.
Yeah. But at least someone else took him to the fourth round.
Yeah.
Shows how good Khalil is. But
you're the only one, right?
So far. But again, he's got some hard fights in front of him, but he's that guy right now.
Okay, Fano, so there you have it, all the reactions from UFC 307. Carlos, I wanted to get your opinion when we're watching these many fights of Alex Pereira, and he's doing them back to back to back, saving how many pay-per-view cards. How much is this building your knowledge and, base of, when you eventually get the opportunity to face him, you kind of have, a better understanding of what you're coming up against?
Yeah, I mean, I've been studying Alex for a while now, obviously, and he's at the top. He's the prime right now, so he's definitely someone that everyone's keeping an eye on. So him knowing that he is very high, he's got a high fight IQ. It is always good to just watch and sit back and see how he operates in the octagon. So I'm coming up, and yeah, soon I'll get my chance there. So.
Yeah, like that's the difficult part about being the champion is that if you're a champion and you're reigning for like a long period of time, there's guys like this that have been watching you.
Yeah.
They've been studying you for years. Like he's obviously been a part of like Israel's camps as well, and he's been breaking down and he's been studying Alex Pereira for years now and thinking about every day about how he would fight him or how he would beat him. Whereas like Alex is like 10 weeks. Oh, I'm going to fight this guy. 10 weeks. So he's got 10 weeks to think about it, where these guys have been thinking, everyone coming up and competing against you has been thinking about it for years. And it kind of looks like the next fight will be done with this Rakic and Ankalaev fight. It looks like if Ankalaev gets through that fight, he'll kind of be head and shoulders. He's been nagging at it for a while. He says he's going to stand there and strike with him, but we both know he's going to press him against the cage and he's going to be looking to exploit some holes in his wrestling.
Absolutely, and that's UFC 308, I believe. Those two will be coming together and being potential next opponents for Alex Pereira. But you have a fight coming up yourself against number 6. Now, when we think about Alex Pereira just fought number 8, we know that there is a chance at any given time, depending on your performances, to be fighting for the title as well.
Yeah, Oezdemir, a very good, well-established MMA fighter. He's been around for quite a long time now. So I think after his 3rd fight in the UFC, he fought for the title, the light heavyweight title against Daniel Cormier, and since then he's just been in the top 10. So he's been facing some top tier fighters, and he's got the experience, he's got the knockout power. His last 2 fights he finished in the first round, one by knockout and the other by rear naked choke. So he's got the experience in his hands, whether it be a knockout or on the ground. So he's definitely a fighter he's a step up for me. So it's a step up in competition. So once I get through Oezdemir, which is going to be a hard task for sure, it's free reign from there, and it'll give me the opportunity to go for the light heavyweight title. So as you've seen the number 8 who's just fought for the light heavyweight title. At any given time, we're going to be called up for that.
Yeah, it's an exciting prospect, especially
Macau.
for you. Macau, yeah. Talk to us about this location. I thought was a bit.
I've never been to no.
The Las Vegas of China.
Have they been? So they said before that they've been. So they're going back to Macau. But
Yeah, I think there's been a show. There's been a show in Macau. I fought in Macau in like 2012. I fought in Macau in China. It's like a crazy place. Yeah, it's like an island just off of like mainland China, where like gambling is legal. I think gambling is illegal
all in China.
In China, but on Macau it's like legal. So man,
oh, it's a little floating casino.
What a place! What a place! I found my own little home in China.
I'm sure you did. We know you love Vegas. So.
But I was very poor when I went there, so I might go back.
Did you leave poor too?
I left poorer.
Poorer. But talk to us about that. When we getting ready for UFC fights, of course, we're looking at our opponent, we're doing our research, we're in the gym, tamir. But also when you're going to these, exotic places now, exotic locations, getting in, settling in, getting used to your surroundings. What does camp look like in terms of what you do now and before you leave?
Yeah, it's just going through all the pain really of waking up. I just broke my toe yesterday at sparring. Didn't realize that I'd broken it until I was doing my sit-ups and I seen that it was facing the other way. I was like, okay, so you got to do this all over again the next day. So it's just going through all that pain. That's I guess the pain and the struggle, and doing it all over again the next day. So until then, it's just doing what I need to do and what's been working in my favor in the past. and just trying to keep to the same formula, really.
Yeah, well, you're coming off a great streak. Like, to be able to be where you are at number 10, fighting number 6 is, an acknowledgement of the work that you have put in. But what do you want to put forward for this fight? Because now, top 10, like you said, it is a bit of a level up. So what do you want to show now? What do you want to, show to everybody?
I've still got 6 weeks to finalize everything and figure out what's going to happen for my game plan. But I kind of have a feel of what is going to purely happen for me. But it's just in the last 2 weeks or so, that's when I'll start to feel my feet, and everything will start to happen, or the game plan will all come together. And I have full confidence in myself that I'll go in there and I put on a show and get the win and all that sort of thing. But it's when it comes down to the game plan that everything kind of just formulates and orchestrates in the last 2 weeks or so.
Dan, talk to us about Carlos as a training partner. What is he like in the gym?
Yeah, he's like super talented. You can tell when you spar him, he's just holding back. Like, he could just pretty much lay everyone flat in the gym. I know. I know. But it's very nice. Like, it's very nice, like, being able to spar with like a guy that's that big and that athletic has the ability to kill you and then chooses not to. Like, it's very refreshing.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Obrigado. My brain thanks you for this.
Typical of you. But Carlos, thank you so much for joining us this week. It's really good to have you back in studio. I know we will catch up with you before the time comes, hopefully on fight week. But all the best. Maybe you need to drink some of this milk for your toe.
Anchor?
Might help you.
Yeah.
I believe ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen, take it.
Ibuprofen over milk.
But before I let you both go, we just want to do a quick little shout out to some of the local cards that are coming up. And Stealth Fight League has its debut event coming up on October 25th. I've seen you doing a little bit of promo for that, for Ron, I believe, who's the promoter for this event. So talk to us a little bit about SFL that's coming up October 25th.
Yeah, it'll be their debut coming up 25th October. So you're going to have a lot of guys who have just about to come up out of New Zealand, some of the best fighters to come out of New Zealand, outside of the bigger organizations. So it's going to be exciting. And SFL is, I guess, more highly anticipated. So
yeah, I like it. They've got local fighters and international fighters as well. Yes.
Oh, announcer here.
Yes. Oh God. What is about to happen?
Oh no, I'm getting brought. They messaged me, messaged me,
yes,
and he asked me if I would be a special guest announcer. So you'll see Dan.
Okay.
You're going to see Dan Buffer in cage.
No way.
Announcing.
For the
special guest announcing, not the whole card, because obviously I don't have that much energy or concentration, but I can do. I think I'm doing one amateur fight and one professional fight. You'll see me in the cage, and boy, do I have a plan. Oh. Boy, have I got an idea. I'm not going to tell anyone.
He doesn't write anything down.
I'm not going to tell
telling you now.
I'm not going to tell anyone because they'll talk me out of it. But you'll thank me later.
Okay.
Here first. SFL announcer debut.
Well, now
it's going to be a great card.
It's going to be a
great card.
It is a good card.
I'm very excited for this one.
We're going to have hopefully Nyreen Crowley, who's featuring on the. We don't have too many females that come on this show, so it's really cool to bring her in, having her somewhat of a comeback fight too. So hopefully we'll have her here on Fight Week. But yeah, SFL, look out for it. Jump over on Instagram, give them a follow, and keep up to date on all the plans there. We're all going to be involved, and we'll see you there on the night if you get to make it.
Boy, will I ever.
Oh, witness the announcing debut of Dan Hooker.
Gonna keep your shoes on, or?
Boy, will I ever
Will
be
you
involved.
keep the slides or the Crocs on?
Boy, will I have it's bigger. Think bigger. Think bigger.
Think closed shoes.
Think bigger.
We also have King in the Ring coming up as well on November 30th. That will be at the event centre for the 8-man cruiserweight competition. And then we have Shuriken Fight Series, which is of course streaming live on UFC Fight Pass on December 7th. You can catch all the local action. Get behind your local. Can't stress that enough to get behind our local fighters. Korua, thank you so much for joining me this week.
Thank you.
And we will be in touch, especially with you, with your upcoming fight. All the very best. After our usual recording of UFC on Sky, I was given the opportunity to speak with Australia's newest UFC Bantamweight, Cody Haddon. Now, Cody Haddon made waves on the Dana White Contender Series only a few weeks ago, winning his fight via rear naked choke submission and winning himself a UFC contract. Here's what he had to say on Fight Week from Las Vegas. Kia ora, Cody, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Look, first of all, I mentioned this before we started as well, but congratulations. What an amazing win on Dana White Contender Series to warrant your UFC contract, making it, undeniable that you'd be getting a place in the UFC. If you could just quickly take us back to that moment, because we haven't caught up with you since that win, but what was that like in winning in such spectacular fashion?
Yeah, it was super surreal, like I've always wanted to get to the UFC, and the Dana White Contender Series is a real tough gig. The guys they get on there are two killers from each corner of the world, and they get them to fight each other. I always wanted to do it, but then being there, it was just so starstruck, being in the apex and everything like that. And now I'm obviously back over here, and it's just been a whirlwind. This last 6 weeks, I think I fought on the Contender Series 6 weeks ago. Now I'm back. Felt like I never left.
Obviously, when you get to Dana White Contender Series, a lot of people look in on that series and think, oh, look at the beginning of this guy's career. But obviously, when fighters get to that stage, they have been on the circuit for a while, just not at that level. So talk to us a little bit about the journey to get to even a sniff of Dana White Contender Series.
Oh, it's super hard. There was no inkling. I had no idea that I was going to get a call up this year. Me personally, I thought that I definitely deserved to get a call up with what I've been doing on the regional scene. And my manager, my teammate was already supposed to fight on the Contender Series, and my manager had been hassling them about me too, and they just kind of didn't disregard it, or not disregard it, but they just didn't get back to her. Just left her on scene a little bit. So, but I wasn't expecting to hear back anyway. I found it really hard getting matchups on the regional scene and getting consistent fights, and I had a few health issues too, which set me back, and a few injuries and stuff like that. So it was really hard on the local scene to really string fights together and get a bit of momentum going. Yeah, I had no inkling that I was going to get a call up, and then one day she just said, "Oh, can I come round?" And then she pretty much told me the news, and I was like, out of where? Out of absolutely nowhere. It was heard nothing. Then Sean Shelby was like, "Will he fight on this date? Yes or no?" And she just said yes, and then came and told me who I'm fighting on what day. So yeah, I was actually booked to fight someone else on another promotion in Queensland, Beatdown Promotions. Damian Brown was flying someone in from Japan to fight me or something, and then when I got the Dana White Contender Series fight, we just moved that one and just pulled out of that. And then 5 weeks later, I wasn't going to risk fighting that when I had something bigger in mind, so.
Yeah, it's great to have options, right? And I mean, Dana White Contender Series, Australia and New Zealand are doing pretty well on that scene at the moment. It's actually been a little bit tough to keep up with all the Anzacs that have been competing at the moment, which is a great problem to have. Talk to us about how this debut came about, and, was there a list of names that was given to you, or, what was that process like?
So after the Dana White Contender Series fight, my manager spoke to me prior and just said, if you win this fight, and when would you they want you to debut, when would you like to debut? Because I need to tell them, and I was like, ideally November. It's pretty normal to fight once every 3 months. If you fight 3 times a year, that's pretty good these days, you know what I mean? So I said November because I'd fought, I think, in early August, so it gives me a month to chill out a little bit, let the body recoup a bit, and celebrate a little bit the win as well. And then, get back into training and then build up that 8 weeks for the next one. But yeah, pretty much after the fight, I went to Orlando with my missus. We went to all the theme parks over there. We're at Disney World, Universal, all of that. And then on the last day, my manager pretty much called me and was just like, "Oh, I got some news for you. I'll tell you tonight." But I, at that point, I already knew, And then when I got home, and then I was I think I was at the theme park eating something, and then as soon as she told me that, I just kind of stopped eating whatever I was eating because I was like, "Here we go again," So I was like, "Shit." Then I went home. She told me, she was like, "Yeah, look, I know you wanted to fight in November, but they've come back and asked if you want to fight in 6 weeks or 5 or 6 weeks time against this guy." And I was like, well, yeah, I guess so. At first I was like, let me think about it, see if it's possible. I had a few things at home that I needed to take care of, but that was
You're the first ever bantamweight Anzac as well from Australia or New Zealand to
I know,
come into the UFC. That's pretty cool too.
such an honor to be honest, because I was saying that before. It's like, you know, lightweights, they have quite a lot of Anzacs, and then featherweights, they've had guys there too. Flyweights, they've had, you know, they've got some guys there. All over, they've got guys, but the only division they'd never had anyone was like bantam. And for me, it didn't make sense that, like, as stacked as the bantamweight division is and as exciting it is, like, why not have an Aussie chucked in the mix? So I'm just, like I said, I'm grateful that they chose me, to be honest.
Is bantamweight your primary division that, you know, non-negotiable? Because I know you did have a fight against Steve Usyk, who's obviously a UFC flyweight now.
Yeah, bantamweight. So that fight was at bantamweight. I took it on 3 weeks' notice at the time. So I couldn't make flyweight, and then because it was such short notice, he was like, I'll come up to bantamweight, you know. So that's how that came about.
Speaking of, you know, Steve Usyk, who's, you know, been in the UFC for such a short amount of time, already had a title fight. You got Jack Della, who I have read that you look up to as a UFC fighter. He's in the top. He's number 4 now. But there's so many, you know, great Australians that are representing in the UFC right now. How does that feel for you to be in that mix?
I feel like I don't deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence as Della or Usyk yet, but maybe after Saturday, then you can start mentioning me in that mix as maybe this kid might be the next big thing out of Australia. Because I proved myself on the Contender Series, but I can't get ahead of myself. Like, yes, it is a UFC event, but it is not the UFC. So this is the real deal. And let's see if I can hang in there with these best guys, which I believe I can.
I wanted to quickly ask you about Junior Tuffa, who obviously is over there as well, getting ready for this fight card. He's coming in on 1 week's notice. His opponent has unfortunately pulled out. He's been given another with only a couple of days to go. I just wanted to know if you've had any interactions with him and how he's going as well, because I did catch up with him yesterday before the news dropped.
I've been a fan of those boys for a while, you know, just like I just like the whole just how gangster they are, you know. They go in there, spark people. They're just, and it's like what you see is what you get with them, and I respect that, you know. And so I met them. I met Junior the other day when I think he just got in. He just flown in, and I was trying on all my gear because obviously I just got here, so they need all my sizes, this and that. And then he just introduced himself and then just said good luck, and it was. Yeah, man, he's a big dude, man. I wouldn't want to get hit by him, mate. Far out. Do some damage, bro. So I was like, I'm happy. But no, he's a good dude. Hey, yeah, he's a cool dude. Yeah, and what a G, right? One week notice or whatever it is, 2 weeks notice, and then his opponent changed it, and he's still here, still gonna show up. So he's a real fighter. You know what I mean? Like 2 weeks notice, what a G. Like that's just not. You know, I wouldn't. Me personally, I probably wouldn't take a fight on 2 weeks' notice, not going to lie. You know, I'm like, shit, that's just, I don't know. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So, like, I feel like this is the shortest notice I'd probably take a fight, you know, to be honest.
Well, look, we are really looking forward to seeing your debut this weekend. Congratulations again. You've worked really hard for it. Enjoy it. And all the best for Sunday afternoon.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for having me once again.